Namaste, everyone. I'm going to give you a special healing practice for awakening the heart. And this is a part of my Yoni Joy adventure, we'll say. So you can uncover 4 meditations for heart awakening, which we're going to do on yonijoy.blogspot.com, and you're going to find all kinds of adventures regarding sacred sexuality and female empowerment, as well as the heart, working with the heart, healing the heart. So we're going to focus on healing the heart because Yoni Joy, we think of yoni as the reproductive system for a woman. And that yoni, the female reproductive system, it represents the creation, creativity, fertility. It is the great beauty of the universe. So when I say Yoni Joy, I'm thinking of womb blessing, womb steaming, right? Spiritual baths, right? Where you're connecting with your womb in the water, even when you're going to the beach and you're swimming through the ocean and you're feeling your womb, because we are made of mostly water and we are created in a water sac, right? So there's something very special about being in water when it comes to tapping into your Yoni Joy as a woman. So why, we do womb steaming, we take spiritual baths, we do womb blessings, we even do ancestral clearing. That's a part of womb steaming. Womb blessing is you're healing your lineage as a woman, because we live in a patriarchal society where when we look at the family tree, all women are mostly not there, right? It's basically the patriarch that is remembered throughout the generations, but who really holds the wisdom of the many generations is the woman and the woman's arc line. And we are special because we have 2 arc lines, not just one, right? This is a yogic science, part of a tradition for thousands of years, okay? So that arc line for us women is at the breast, right? The breast, it's the arc line is at the breast, and it has everything to do with the heart center. So we have an arc line as women that it has to do with a very powerful electromagnetic field that is the heart intelligence. So the whole saying is an ancient old saying that, women are highly intuitive, right? Because we hold this wisdom here at the breast area, right here at the heart center. So when we do womb steaming, how that connects with the heart is that we think of like the furnace. You turn on the pilot light, which is the perineum, the entryway of the vagina, right? So when you're doing, when you're rotating the spine, right, what you're doing is you're getting deep and you're turning on that pilot light, the sort of perineum, and also with the base of the spine, right? So you're creating some heat, letting that heat raise, right? The furnace we think of like womb, right? The womb, and that fire moves up into the heart, and we call the fire of the heart, right? And when we are experiencing the white flame of the heart, that's when we're experiencing healing. We all know the ending of ancestral trauma, generational curses, and a lot of that is through the power of that heat, right? We talk about the burning of karma, right? A woman has the potential, especially a pregnant woman, to burn through the karma of the child who is coming in to that particular avatar, we'll say, right? To clear the karma. And how we do this through the flame of the heart, through the flame of the heart. So we as women are designed to have a very powerful heart center, very powerful electromagnetic field, and our aura is very, very radiant, right? We think of women, it's all, women, right? We have such a radiant aura. And men, they possess this as well, but our aura, I like to say, is 16 times stronger than a man, magnetically, radiantly, because we have a very, we hold this wisdom at the heart on behalf of multiple generations, multiple generations. Like for myself, I connect with my eyes, and I have had these meditations and seen my eyes thousands of years in the past in different geographic regions, all sort of connected, intermingling with each other, right? And that's a sort of wisdom that's carried within, when we think of the woman carrying her baby, right? Carrying her baby, that's what we do as women. We carry the sort of generation with us, not just a single, but all the generations. So that makes us, we have the capability to tap into a lot of wisdom of women, right? And the wisdom of women has everything to do with creative destiny for the generation that will be, and also when it comes to resolving the sort of karma and trauma and fate of the past. So the heart awakening has everything to do with sacred sexuality. Everything to do with sacred sexuality. Sacred sexuality, we can call that as touching, we can call that as foreplay, we can call it as you're taking a bath with yourself, you're taking a bath with your partner. That could be just a sort of sitting and eye gazing or touching each other, kissing, these type of things, not just solely penetration, right? There's as Yogi Bhajan would say, there's many hours before penetration, right? To really create the heat, right? And you want to create the heat in the body so that you can really get that sort of awakening of the heart, right? And when we have that awakening of the heart through sacred sexuality, we experience joy, contentment, fulfillment, right? We are basically vibrating at the soul level. And that makes us feel so peaceful in sacred sexuality, or sex in general. It makes us so peaceful because we're vibrating at the soul level, right? And that is an experience, sort of journey, a sort of an adventure that makes us feel very united with ourselves, is what I would like to say, right? We're very well nourished. And we all know many thousands of years, right, through all kinds of various spiritual practices that are all sort of interwoven and all have had some sort of contact with each other. The nourishment of the human being comes from the wisdom of the ages, the wisdom of the soul, right? How to unite with the soul, right? Without that, we would just be walking around like flesh, right? And we've been in periods on this earth where the dark age, for example, now we're still in, where it's just, we're flesh, right? It's flesh, it's like flesh, like that kind of thing. And it's not very encouraging type of place to be in, right? It's not very empowering. It makes us quite weak, quite brittle, fragile, insecure, that kind of thing. So the strength of the heart is the strength of the mind, right? So we think you gotta have a strong mind, right? Have that mantra. But really, when we are doing mantra recitation, it's penetrating our heart. The wave is penetrating our heart. We're synchronizing the heart rhythm with the mantra, because our sound current is not our voice. It's not our mind creating this sort of vocabulary selection and then we're speaking, right? It has everything to do, the sound current is with the heart. The heart having this very mighty force, creative sort of fulfillment in us, right? That makes our sound current, our sort of projection, very captivating and very healing. So when you have a lot of healers will say, and this is healers of all geographic regions, sort of spiritual practices, there's a white flame of the heart, right? And that white flame of the heart is a very healing, very peaceful, very tranquil, very relaxing sort of flame of the heart, that when you're in the sort of having a healing done type of thing, that's basically you're being engulfed by this sort of white flame, right? And this goes back to the Mary Magdalene sort of school of called mystic arts, right? The white flame, you're engulfed by it. And what it does is it purifies you. Like when you go into the ocean, you always feel your skin feels so clean, and your hair is like, oh my gosh, my hair actually, not so dry, right? It feels kind of moist. Skin even heals your eyes when you go at the sunset, right? It even heals your hips. Where I go in, I'm like, oh my God, my hips feel so loose, right? Heals your spine. You're swimming. You're doing some, swimming type of heals your spine, right? So that's that type of that's that type of very what I kind of comparison to the white flame of the heart is very much that ocean being engulfed by this sort of pure energy, right? So we are going to work on creating that white flame of the heart, and I'm going to give you 4 meditations for heart awakening, and it's kind of like what I see 4 initiations. And the number 4 is for a reason, right? So everything is not random, right? There's a sort of synchronicity. So number 4 has to do with what? The 4th chakra, the heart, right? We're also in 2020 year. The 4 also has to do with Jupiter, planet Jupiter, which is about expansion. It's about wisdom. It's about sort of refining your perception through meditation. It's about prosperity, creative destiny. It's about victory. The sort of sound current of Jupiter is like a victory, 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 victory. That's kind of the mental sound current of Jupiter's victory, victory. And Jupiter, the planet Jupiter, has everything to do with a woman's electromagnetic field, right? Jupiter has everything to do with a woman's electromagnetic field, which is at the heart and the breasts type of thing, right? I see it as the planet Jupiter is like an Akashic record for women in the lineage that each and every woman carries. The arc of women, I like to say, where all these women are on the ship. And so if you are the generation that's at the front line, you get to drive it, you get to repair it. If there's some leaks, if there's some wood that's too old, you need to replace it, right? If you got some stuff in the arc, right, of women that needs to be healed and restored and recovered, it's like, here's your chance, right? Here's your chance. And when we start to, again, have that heart awakening, we can actually sort of deepen our meditative mind, our neutral mind, right? Which is really when a woman has that meditative mind, that neutral mind, like she can access the infinite. She can connect to all kinds of remedies and healing modalities and all kinds of, we could call medicine, right? Medicine, creativity, right? That's been experienced, it's been cultivated through many the women, right? And also has the capability to heal and repair damages that all of us as women have. We have damaged women, right, in our sort of lineage, right? And we have it within ourselves to use that sort of meditative mind, that neutral mind, to really, send this white flame out into these areas within our own subconscious that could be wounds or could be unstable grounds within us, so we can patch it up, right? Make it nice and firm, remodel it, renovate it, right? So it's more up to date, so that it's more functional, right? So that we can be more creative as a woman, which is what Yogi Bhajan has said is the highest fulfillment of a woman, which is interesting. We think women, the highest is to be married, right? Right, if you're from the South, right? It's like to be married, to have kids, right? That type of thing, which is all wonderful, right? But Yogi Bhajan said the highest sort of fulfillment is the women to be creative. And we're creative with our kids, we're creative with our spouse, but there's something about the creativity of your own self-expression, you feeling whole within yourself as a woman, feeling united within yourself. And we can get married and have kids and still not feel united with ourself, still feel something's missing, feeling something's empty, feeling incomplete, discontent, because we are meant to be nourished, right? We need to be nourished as women, right? Because we are the giver of life, right? So when we don't feel that nourishment through our own creativity, our giving is not as it's holistic. It's not as powerful as we can say, right? As when we're nourished. So the 4 meditations for awakening. So I'm going to explain them to you and then we'll just dive in, okay? So 4 meditations for heart awakening. So meditation A, healing the inner child, the past. So healing the inner child is very important with the heart. We're working with the heart. So all of us carry a childhood, right? And all of us carry past. And when I mean past relationships. And this is where we have the block a lot of times, is in the childhood. And I always say, even with myself, your first relationship does affect you. And your first relationship is with your father. Either he's absent, and if you're a man, it's with your mother. That's your first relationship. Your first experience of what it is to be in a relationship that will affect you when you are an adult, right? So we can create, especially as a child, we can block ourselves in many ways. If we have intimacy issues, that can reflect something, an experience we had in childhood, right? Where we weren't seen, we weren't heard, we didn't feel cared for, didn't feel loved, right? So we don't feel good enough to open up and to share our feelings with somebody, right? So we kind of hide or block it off. So this is what I wrote. In meditation A, we are releasing tension out of the body to create space for the heart to grieve and unblock. So when when you do, like, for example, thyroid yoga, you'll be crying after, like, whoo, crying, because you're clearing out the tension in the body, right? And even when you do somatic sort of healing, again, you will cry. So there's something about moving the body, and this is what Kundalini helps us with. We're moving the body in these particular positions that is supposed to unlock. Literally, you're unlocking yourself. And by doing so, you can allow this movement to happen in your heart. And when you create this space through mantra, right, that you are accepting of these emotions, you can let them go rather than you're starting to cry and then you're like, you toughen up and then you suck it back in, right? Which I've seen people do. They're like, they want to cry, no, I can't, and then they just like suck it back in or something like that, right? So that, because they have something we all have when it comes to experiencing emotions, shame on you, that type of thing, right? But through the grieving and through the unblocking, we're able to, again, let fan out. The heart is like a vent. You're meant to let the excess heat come out. People who don't let that excess heat come out, we talk about inner child anger, rage, resentment, all of that. Basically, that fire, that excess heat becomes very red of resentment, red of rage, red of anger that's not getting out. It's not expressing itself. It's getting kind of caught there, and you're basically you're feeling all of this heat, but you don't know how to cool it down, so you're burning up inside. You're basically destroying yourself because you're burning up, right? You don't know how to cool it down because you're not letting it out. You're not venting it out of the heart, right? The chi, excess chi out, right? You're not eliminating it. So that's what we're going to work on. And then meditation B is healing fear to be seen, shame, judgment, and feelings of not being good enough. This is this is like an initiation too, right? Initiation too. So this has to do with the human condition. So the first one had to do with your relationship with your mother, your father, which is, again, when it comes to you as an adult having relationships, that does affect you. Your 3-year-old self, your 5-year-old self. You may not remember, but subconsciously you could be playing out a lot of this relationship that you had, a woman with the father, a man with the man with the mother, and also the father and the mother, right? Witnessing your mother, witnessing your father, and that kind of leaves an imprint on you, kind of models you, right? It kind of leaves this sort of expectation of what I'm to have, what I'm good enough, what I'm worthy of. It creates this sort of status, this sort of standard for you, and what, okay, I'm gonna have that because that's all I know, right? In the little 5-year-old, 3-year-old self. So you want to break through the standard, the status of what a relationship is by redefining, reinventing, right? Your sort of relationship with the father and mother archetype that you're playing out in your sort of relationships, or even just with yourself, right? Through meditation, right? Through neutralizing the sort of mind, so you can really start to expand beyond the father and mother sort of model or expectation that you were given, that may not be something that you want to repeat or continue that, right? You have your own sovereignty, your own soul path that in many ways has nothing to do with your parents, right? Nothing to do with your parents, right? But we got to excavate, and we got to really expand the way we're relating to the parents, right? So that we can really begin to evolve beyond the patterns of our past and the relationship of our childhood, right? So then we have the human condition. In the meditation B, we are empowering our emotions to create space for the heart to receive deeper creativity. So a lot of the human condition, unfortunately, it very much dampers, it pales our creativity. Everything with shame and judgment, feelings not being good enough, that is a common theme every person has, regardless of your social economical situation, right? Everybody has that. That's a collective human condition, emotional state that we all have to transmute. We all have to transform that in our years on planet Earth, right? So creativity on this planet Earth, this kind of shame stuff, very ancient, old shame, we've experienced this for thousands of years. It blocks the creative energy, right? You don't want to you don't articulate, you don't want to express, because I'm going to be attacked, aggression's everywhere, right? So through empowering the heart, we're strengthening the heart muscle, right? The kind of spiritual heart, and that is going to give us an ability to really hold an aura, right, that can stand its ground, stand firm, right? Because on this dark age that we're still in, there's all kinds of there's shame and judgment is a thing, right? And it's not collectively, it's not just going to poof, right? It's going to take, we're going to have to do some heavy duty lifting, right, to really neutralize that and to kind of restore the balance in that. So meditation B is about working on your creativity through empowering our emotions. And creativity is how we're able to survive these type of periods in human history that are so traumatic and rough and just frankly not easy to experience for multiple generations, right? So creativity is our outlet, right? But in order to really develop your craftsmanship, your Midas touch in this life, is you have to express. So let's say you were into ceramics when you were like 7 or 8, and you had, like, let's say you had somebody tell you, this, your ceramics is not good, it has to be like this, and then just consistently made you feel shamed to even be interested in ceramics, or to even be trying to make ceramic type of, wizards or something like that, right? Something like wizardry. What that will do is you may even block that gift, that talent, in adult years, because it doesn't fit in, right, to what your parents want, society, whatever it is, right? And that is a helpful tool. You may not make money off of that, or you may make something, right? But craftsmanship is how we're able to survive, right? And how we're able to take care of ourselves, and how we're able to really transmute these heavy emotions. So that can be through writing, that can be through ceramics, whatever it is. Creativity is our way of expressing ourselves. And a lot of times we can block that because a lot of it has to do with meditation, with the childhood, right? And how our parents responded to our, I would like to go to college, Mom. You're 16 and your mom's like, that's not going to be for you, I can't afford it. So it puts this program in your head, I'm never going to go to college. So then what do you do as a young person? You a lot of times fulfill that, right? Because you don't know, right? When you're a young person, you're vulnerable. Like, you're 16, right? You're not necessarily independent. You haven't really built up the techniques to actually choose a new choice, right? So there's so many scenarios that I can map up in my head. But meditation B is about dealing with the bigger, the bigger world, right? Beyond just the house. It's getting into, you are part of a collective dynamic situation, predicament, right? That we're all in this together, and there's some shame and judgment, and there's going to be feelings of not being good enough that you're going to have to navigate through, right? So that you can really start to really express your creativity and develop your craftsmanship in this life, which is what we want to do, right? We want to develop craftsmanship. And then meditation C is about activating courage. And activating courage is what the heart is about. The heart is about courage. So a lot of times when you get nervous, what happens? Your heart starts racing. Like, let's say you're about to ride a horse, and you've never ridden a horse, and your heart's like pounding because you're being courageous. You're stepping beyond your comforts. You're expanding horizons. You're having new experiences that's making you more alive. So when your heart is pumping, right, it's like there's more energy. You're getting more energy. Like when I do like Kundalini yoga and all that, I can feel the heartbeat. It's becoming more profound, more pronounced, right? Because I'm challenging myself. The same thing goes when your heart is beating when it comes to like danger, right? It'll give you like a hint, like when you're getting close to touching the hot burner thing, and your heart's like, it's like, no, right? Same thing goes when we get the kind of heebie-jeebies about someone. Our heart's like, it's kind of knocking on our door, right? And saying, whoa, pay attention, right? So the courage is about discernment, but it's also about expansion. We cannot expand without courage. That's like it's like a shikle, right? Ancient old saying. We cannot expand without courage. So I wrote in Meditation C, we're awakening Kundalini for the heart to expand. So when I'm talking about Kundalini, I'm talking about your fullest creative energy, your fullest expression of your life force, right? And that's what courage is. Your courage is about the movement of you is in the fullest expression of creativity, the fullest life force, right? That's Kundalini, that's courage, right? There cannot be creativity without courage. Courage just gets you into craftsmanship. It gets you into taking on different techniques and finding your uniqueness and overcoming these type of problems that you may have, right? So then the last meditation, we have meditation D, and that's about mighty power. And mighty power is kind of like the final initiation, right? Through courage, right? Because we are able to be firm, right? Because we're empowering our emotions, right? We get courage in doing so, right? We get life force. We get the final initiation, which is mighty power. Meditation D, we are resurrecting talents and gifts deep within the heart for grand intuition and loving awareness. Wow, right? So mighty power of the heart center has to do with you being a space holder for not just talents and gifts of your lineage as a woman and the woman of woman, right? The womb of many, many wombs, but you're also a space holder for the talents and gifts of planet Earth, for other people, other women. So for example, you could, let's say you are in a woman's practice, you're with your sisters and you're doing some sort of meditation with a woman, right? What can happen is just looking at the woman's eyes, she can trigger talents maybe suppressed within you, like some sort of something your inner child has always wanted to experience, but you've denied it because it doesn't fit in with your schedule, your life, what, your judgment, the kind of whatever it is, right? And there's a power of a woman with, that heart can really unlock other women. The mighty power of a woman can unlock many women, right? It becomes revolutionary, that type of heart of a woman. It becomes revolutionary to other women because it can really unlock not just one's own lineage, but other people, serving their creative destiny, serving their talents and gifts that maybe they're not even aware of, but they can experience through just your presence, sort of unlocking something within their own stream of consciousness that is made of multiple generations, right, of experience. So these are the 4 meditations, right? The 4 for the heart. Meditation A, B, C, D, all are part of initiation. So again, one initiation, then you start to work with that. And then when you feel a sense of mastery, or when you really feel like you've really sort of gotten to the fullness of that type of meditation, you'll go into initiation B, initiation C, initiation D, right? So from healing the inner child, healing the past, we move through, we get mighty power, right? And again, this is something you will do consistently, so you can really create that energetic position, right, for this transformation to happen through the sort of spiraling, that kind of transmutation, that kind of resets and then sort of solidifies that new position, right, that you're wanting to create, that nuance in your sort of physiology, in your creativity or sexuality that you're wanting to hold, right? It's about holding new patterns that's difficult for us because these new patterns are very expansive, regardless of your generation. If you're born in the 70s and the 1990s, right? There's something about there's a major upgrade, like a major quantum leap, right? And we have to hold these new patterns, but they're in many ways seem contradicting to the old paradigm, the old patterns, and seem quite bizarre to the old patterns, seem kind of like, what is that? Like, it seems quite like these new patterns seem so futuristic, so odd, or so peculiar, it doesn't even feel like it fits in, right? And that's where we are creating this sort of space where we can experience this sort of new information coming in, and we can really embody it, right? We can use it. so we can really begin to evolve beyond the blockages to heart living and creativity and kundalini, right? So we're going to tune in now, right, to our practice. So this is something, again, we're going to go through the whole thing. These 4 parts are not that long, so it's not like 1 hour each, right? We'll go through each of the parts, and I'll also provide you like individual videos, 4 videos. I'll give you the one big one, right, that you will do, right, one time, right, and then you will do the individual ones and go at your own sort of speed, your own sort of, adventure, right? So bring your hands together. We're going to tune in. And I always like to tune in. So this is something that you can do before each and every initiation. So we tune in with Ong, O-N-G, Namo, Gurudev Namo. It's a chant to call in the sort of the teachers, the high ones that are here to assist us, help us reach self-mastery, so that we can reach our destiny, have victory and creative fulfillment in this life on behalf of ourselves, our whole arc of women and men for future generations.